I'm going to read a newspaper article to y'all, and I'm going to explain why this is so important that I do so. I'll just show you what it says here real quick. See that? New Jersey S.P.C.A. faces state intervention. Alrighty, I'm going to read this. Just kind of stick with me to the end when I explain what happened and how ridiculous it was. After failing to file state and federal financial statements for years, a mishap that resulted in the loss of its tax-exempt status, the New Jersey for the Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals is the subject of the State Commission of Investigation probe for the second time in less than 20 years. While the S.C.A. would not confirm or deny any investigative activity, at least 6 people connected with the New Jersey S.P.C.A. says they have already been interviewed or are about to be. The NJSPCA, a private organization with a 100-plus-year-old charter from the state, has been the focus of controversy for almost 2 decades. Charged with protecting animals, the group's senior members are given the power of arrest, carry guns, and yet have little state oversight. Now, carry guns in the state of New Jersey, it doesn't exist here. If I get caught with a firearm on my side, whether it's concealed or exposed on the outside of my person, I am subject to the maximum penalty of 10 years in prison, which isn't cool, if you ask me, because if you ask me, that's a violation of our Second Amendment right. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That is the whole thing. Okay, the steady drumbeat of criticism reached a crescendo late last year when it was discovered that the organization had lost its tax-exempt status and yet continued to accept public donations without informing donors that their contributions were no longer tax-deductible. The organization has been criticized for apparent conflicts of interest as it regularly purchases services from business associated with members of its board, a violation of ethics and nonprofit rules, and it appears to spend far more on lobbying and attorney fees, nearly $400,000 in 1 year, without invoices for those expenses, than it does its animal care. According to its tax record, Tony Ising, I-S-I-N-G is her last name, or his last name. I would imagine it's a girl, the way it's spelled, T-O-N-I. The animal rescuer from Flemington said she, yeah, I was right, it was a woman, was interviewed by the S.C.A. regarding an incident she had with the NJSPCA in August when she was running a rescue operation out of her apartment and wound up with 61 cats and a dog in there. The NJSPCA charged her with 44 counts of animal cruelty. Now, this is someone that does rescue, and she's being charged with 44 counts of animal cruelty. The charges were ultimately dropped. The S.C.A. wanted to know what happened with my case. Why was it dismissed? Ising said another person who was interviewed by the S.C.A. but spoke on the condition of anonymity expects the S.C.A. will again recommend the agency to be dissolved. The structure without controls as it exits just breeds corruption and misuse of power, the person said. Failure to file. News of the investigation comes just months after the State Attorney General's office sent the agency a letter criticizing its failure to submit required financial statements on a timely basis. It gave the NJSPCA 10 days to remedy the situation, or its registration as a charity in the state would be revoked. The letter, written by Cindy Davis, a deputy director of the Division of Consumer Affairs, went on to say that the New Jersey S.P.C.A. was already not in good standing with the state's charitable registration division because it had failed to file all of its required financial statements going back as far as 2011. The division sent the New Jersey S.P.C.A. a letter last December 12th requesting those documents. The New Jersey S.P.C.A. responded by filing several years' worth of financial documents with the state, but the division wrote the New Jersey S.P.C.A. again on January 27th saying its filings were insufficient and not adequate response. The S.C.I. probe would be at least the third time the agency had been investigated by the state agency in the past 17 years. The S.C.I. issued a report in 2000 saying the organization had a gun club mentality. and described its members as cop wannabes, which is very true. I agree with that 100%. How about you, Tim? You think he acted like a cop? Bulletproof vest and all when he showed up to our place. It's various abuses, such as agents writing summonses to generate revenue. Right, Tim? Okay, I will get, and I believe that was the end of it. The S.C.A. reported, I'm going to reread that last paragraph. The S.C.A. issued a report in 2000 saying the organization had a gun club mentality and described its members as cop wannabes. It listed various abuses, such as agents writing summonses to generate revenue. Okay, so here's the rest of the story. Not this past February, but February of 2016, I got a phone call from my next door neighbor. She has, I believe, 6 dogs over there? Yep. 6 dogs. Big dogs. I mean big dogs. What are they? Newfoundlands. Newfoundlands, and there's a mutt. Well, they're all kind of mutts because they're bred with something else, but they're very large dogs. Anyways, I didn't answer the phone call, but because I was on my way up to the corner store to get a bottle of Coca-Cola for my I wanted a drink. I wanted a rum and Coke, which I hadn't had in quite a while, and I'm not much of a drinker, but that's what I like to drink. So when I got out of the store, I flipped on my phone and I listened to the message, and she was quite frantic that someone had apparently shot her dog. I was like, whoa. So I pull into the driveway, you know, I'm like, I called her back, and she was, I don't know, frantic that someone had shot her dog. And I was like, well, I don't know anything about it. Well, with that, I'm loading coal into the stove. We're down in the basement, and Timothy's bringing coal in from outside, and there's lights, just regular headlights, no flashing lights, in my driveway. So I walked around the back side of the house, and I see there's a police officer there. So walked up to the door. I was like, everything all right? You know, because it's kind of odd that that happens at my house. So he says, just go inside your house, I'll be right with you, sir. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I go in the house, and pretty soon, I don't know, a minute or two goes by, knock on the door, and this guy says, well, the neighbor's dog has been shot, and we were wondering if you had a BB gun. Well, yeah, I have a BB gun. He says, can I see it? I said, sure. So I bring him in the house, and the house was under renovation. I mean, I had everything. It was a disarrayed mess. I mean, I had just gotten finished spraying the clear coat on the walls in my dining room. It's all wood in there, and you know, so I said, excuse the mess, we're under renovation. I just got done surfacing the floors and putting new polyurethane down on that, and I go to find a BB gun, and Timothy had taken it. It was up on top of the cabinet that I had in the living room, and Timothy had taken it and put it on some garbage bags that were filled with some clothes that I was going to donate to the Goodwill, in which I did. And I don't know, I was like, what'd you do with the gun? And he's like, oh, well, I hid it under there. And of course the cop's like, whew, get the hackles up on the back of his neck. Why'd you hide the gun? Well, you know, Timothy doesn't know the rules and regulations of a gun being in the house, because I can have a loaded gun in the house in New Jersey all I want, as long as BB guns count as a firearm, by the way. They're not toys, like, say, a paintball gun or an airsoft gun would be. So, whatever, I pick up the gun and I hand it to him. He says, yep, looks like it. Well, it's a freaking BB gun. What the hell? All BBs look the same. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He says, well, it looks like the BB that was found inside the dog. There was a BB inside the dog? You mean a Newfoundland with hair that's like 4 inches long? There was a BB actually got through that? Which, I don't know. It just didn't make any sense to me, and I was like, well, I can guarantee you that I didn't shoot the dog. I doubt that Timothy shot the dog. We don't mind the dogs at all. They're there. They bark when someone comes in, and you can look out the window. I mean, they're pretty close to my property line, which is fine. I really don't care one way or the other. I mean, it is kind of annoying that they're there on the other side of the fence barking at me while I'm grilling outside or working in the garden, but they've gotten over that. They don't do that anymore. I used to pet the dogs until the neighbors yelled at my children for petting the dogs, which I found to be rather odd, but, you know, it is what it is. Neighbor doesn't want anybody petting her dog. The way I look at it is build a higher fence then, but whatever. So I was like, I guarantee you that I didn't shoot the damn dogs. Next thing, they're making phone calls wanting me and Timothy to go up to the police station. And I told Timothy to stay the hell away from there, make them do the police work that they need to do if there's such a thing. And, you know, we hadn't committed any crime, so why bother with them? You know, do your job. So with that, maybe, I don't know, what was it, a couple, 3 weeks goes by? And wouldn't you know it, this organization right here, this one right here, the New Jersey S.P.C.A, I get 4 summonses, 2 for Tim, 2 for me, stating identical charges, which I'm like, what? How does that happen? So basically, it goes deeper than that. The BB, when I got the photographs, because we had to hire 2 lawyers, I had to hire a lawyer for Timothy and a lawyer for myself to defend myself against these false charges. They have no proof, no nothing. We went to court 3 times, but the picture that I saw was of a copper BB, and we used the BBs that we use. I did have copper BBs at one time, but these were the silver zinc ones, and that's what was in the gun, so there you go. Of course, they're not going to listen to that. The S.P.C.A. claimed that they tried to contact us. I didn't get any contact. There was a note on my door one time telling us to contact them to go up for an interview at the police station. Well, I'm not going for an interview when I have done nothing wrong. If they think that we did something, then great. So they take the BB out of the dog, or that was supposedly out of the dog, and they send it for forensic. This is all hearsay because it wasn't admitted in court. That they sent the BB for forensic investigation to see if it was fired from a rifle like mine. Now, they never took my rifle. Daisy air rifles, there's billions of these things made every year, distributed all over the world. And they want to know if it came from a Daisy BB gun. Well, what's the other kind of gun? BB gun, you know, it's typical cheap Crossman or Daisy. And I believe Crossman Daisy are the same company.
Yeah.
I think it is Crossman Daisy now, but whatever, it doesn't even matter. The BB was destroyed. We had to go to court for three times, costing me a lot of time, a lot of aggravation, sleepless nights, because, you know, they come in and they accuse you of doing something that you didn't do, and then you wonder, you know, you wonder how the justice system works, because honestly, if I shot the fucking dog, then I would have used something much larger, like a .357 Magnum, or maybe a 12-gauge shotgun, you know, because a BB's not going to do anything. If you're going to break the law and shoot a fucking dog, shoot it right, just kill it, you know, and deal with the consequences that way. But we didn't shoot the dog. It cost us $3,000, and then this great article shows up in the mail. What is this? The Express Times. In the Express Times, by the way, they put my name and Timothy's name all through this newspaper. All through this newspaper that we were dog-shooting scumbags. But when we went to court for the 3rd time, and the judge says, you know, in this day and age, you still have to have proof that there was a crime committed. They had no BB. They had no witnesses. They had nothing. All they had was the ability to write a summons, and that's the New Jersey S.P.C.A. The state police didn't do it. They looked like 2 bumbling jackasses in front of that judge. Don't you think?
Yeah.
They did. They're like, well, we don't have that. No, we don't have that. No, we don't have. So why are you dragging these people through this court system, wasting time when you have nothing against them? And, you know, after this article comes out, I'm really seriously considering calling my lawyer that defended, you know, the 2 lawyers that defended us against this out-of-control agency in New Jersey, and seeing if there's some restitution. I mean, false summonses. I mean, it's right here in black and white that that's what they were accused of, and that was way back in 2000. So it's quite obvious that their practices haven't stopped. You know, they just don't give a shit. I mean, how many people donated money to these people for a tax credit that got in trouble through the IRS because these assholes were not courteous enough to say, hey, by the way, we didn't do our job, and we're an abusive power organization, and we just decided we weren't going to do the paperwork either. So thanks for the money. You still have to pay taxes on it. You know, that's the kind of jerks that you're dealing with here. I mean, there's probably some good people in that organization, but the enforcement side of it, this guy was about this tall. What was his name? Mamarato? I think his name was Mamarato. He's about this tall. He had the Napoleon attitude. He had a bulletproof vest on and probably a 45. And then you read an article like this, and they're like, they're a private agency. How do they get the right to carry a firearm? I'm a private agency. I mean, I'm a farmer. I'm out in the wilds of New Jersey, and there's some wild animals around here that could potentially hurt us, and I'm not allowed to carry. I mean, I drive down the road, get the finger and road raged, and I'm not allowed to carry. I think I'm a little more entitled to carry than these jackasses that go and steal dogs and cats from people that are trying to rescue them and then prosecute them for them. You know, it just amazes the hell out of me that this is the world we live in. I mean, it's pretty shitty. I mean, okay, you used to have a dog and it would get old and, you know, it was doing, you know, not doing well. Maybe it was too hot and it was struggling to get around, or even a cat or whatever. You pulled a gun out, you shot it in the head, you buried it, you said, you know, blah, 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 you're done, thanks for being such a great, wonderful pet, and you went on with your day. Here in the great state of New Jersey, they made that illegal. You actually have to go to a vet, and a vet has to euthanize the animal. I think they've rescinded the law, but at that time it was illegal to shoot your own animal. Not even a cow. You couldn't even kill a cow for your own consumption, or pigs, or whatever you were, chickens, all that stuff had to be under the guise of a veterinarian. But that's these assholes right here, New Jersey S.P.C.A. Stop giving them your money. They suck. Anyways, thanks for watching. It's probably a very long-winded video. But me and Timothy, I didn't do it. I didn't post a video on this subject because it's kind of embarrassing that the judicial system is like this, and destroyed. And I don't know how you could get a BB to go into that dog at any range other than within a foot from it, and maybe even pressed up against the dog's head or wherever it was shot. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe for more. And hopefully the S.P.C.A. no longer does this anymore. They don't need the support of anyone because of this crap.